morning. My name's Linda Anderson and I run the Quilters group for Manningham. And this morning I've been asked to introduce a bit about quilting, but first we'll just have a think about the reading. The reading this morning is from the book of Joel, and people are not too sure about how the book of Joel was written. It was there could be numerous writers and it could be over a different time period. So it's sort of like it's been pieced together, and quilts are pieced together, joined together to make one whole, and that's how Joel is. So what is a patchwork quilt? A patchwork quilt consists of a top that is patches together, pieces put together to make the top. In the middle it's got something that would be to make it warm. We use wool or cotton, but in times past there's been lots of things used. And the back is a piece of backing fabric. This one happens to be pieced, so that I didn't have enough fabric, so I joined it all together. So how did I start doing quilts? Well, we bought a holiday house down near Wilson's Prom, and it was a log cabin and it's quite dark. So I wanted to cover one of the log walls with something that looked like a window, so you could pretend that you were looking through to see something. And so the first quilt I made was a picture of a lighthouse, and it looks like a window and it's still hanging there. After I did that, then I went to learn how you make patchwork quilts. So it was sort of a bit the wrong way around. So what makes a quilt beautiful to me? Well, I like bright colours. That's why this quilt's special. But it's much more than that to me. A lot of people like muted colours because they like antique quilts. Fair enough. For me, I like using fabrics that people have put aside because they've bought them and not knowing what they were going to do with them. They've got these stashes of lots of fabrics, and when we get them, we turn them into blankets that are then given away to other people, so they're made useful. I also like the concept that people work together to make a quilt. It's not, generally ours are not made by one person, they're made by a whole group of people, so the love comes through, and that we give them away to people and show that we care about them and that they're being thought of in times when they can feel very lonely. This is Robbie the quilting dog. All the quilters know Robbie. The history of quilts, they've been made for hundreds of years, and all over the world there are versions of quilts, from Japan through Europe and probably even in South America there are quilts. Now in Australia, when convict women would be sent out on the ships, they'd be given a bag of fabric, a needle and thread by these ladies in English society, and they would make themselves a quilt on the journey out to Australia. And when they got here, they could use that quilt themselves, or they could sell it to help provide for themselves. And we know this because one of them was found in Scotland. It's called the Raj quilt, and it's displayed around Australia, and it was named after the ship that the convicts came out on. The backing for quilts has varied throughout history. People have used old fabric, and it's like the first form of recycling, and the backings could be in hessian sacks, flour bags that used to be made out of cotton, old blankets, anything they could get their hands on to make them warm. The Amish people who live in America make beautiful quilts, and they do it all by hand stitch them together and hand quilt them, usually in a sewing bee. But they always make sure there's a mistake in the quilt because they believe that only God is perfect. Now, why have I told you all that about quilting? Well, when we started we were talking about Joel, and the book of Joel being like a patchwork put together, pieces all put together, maybe not by just one person but by a whole group of people. But it's also got hidden meanings that we maybe need to work together to decipher and find the true meaning of, and we might have to work at it a bit, to work out and understand what God is saying to us through His words in Joel.
Thanks, Linda. Wow, those quilts are truly beautiful. Amazing how you can create something from even some scraps of material that someone was going to throw away. So thank you so much for sharing, and Fee, thank you for helping put that together. Well, today is the second Sunday in Advent, and so we light our second candle. The second candle is the candle of love, and we add that to our wreath and we light that one today. As you can see, I'm wearing purple again as the colour of Advent continues on right up until Christmas. See you next week.